want to make sure that I acknowledge the sponsor of the show, Tiege Hanley, because Tiege Hanley sent me this new pack. They sent me the new Tiege pack, so I just literally pulled the paper out, got it out of the mail, and I started going through it, and I got a little bit more excited than I should. You know what I'm saying? So they did send me the Tiege pack, and I don't even know what this is yet. So I'm assuming this is what you get when you first order your Tiege, and I don't know what this is. Oh, this is dope. This is absolutely dope. Is this a nail kit? Ladies, get this for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. This is free. This just comes with it. 30% off your first order plus 20% off for life. Literally. Oh, snaps. I didn't know that they were sending it like this. Real talk. So this is the nail kit that they sending you. All right. So now you ain't looking like a dusty. This is a free gift straight from Tiege for the people that ordered the Tiege. They got the small one for the little hands like mine's. They got the big joints for your toenails. And then they got the joints at the bottom too. You know what I'm saying? For y'all that's a little bit more crustier than usual. All right. So that's one of the free gifts that Tiege got inside of the pack. And then what is this? Says squeeze a quarter size amount of Tiege Hanley body wash on the center of the wet bristles. Lather, scrub, rinse, and repeat for the perfectly satisfying wash every time. So that's inside of there also, right? Ooh, I can get my rubber ducky on right here. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege for sending me that uncomplicated skincare for men. And then what we got in here? We got the actual Tiege pack, right? So this is the normal Tiege pack, but then they gave me the supersized joint for the people. They wanted me to show the people exactly what they got when they ordered that first Tiege pack, when you're getting your 30% off your first order, and then you get your free gifts. You get 2 free gifts, and then the 20% off for life. So the 20% off for life is a new thing. And dang, I ain't even got my keys on me to open this up. Maybe I can use the little nail clipper thing. I ain't got to buy no nail clipper for my new joint downtown. And then you get all of the washes, all of the scrubs, all of the AM, the PMs, and all of that stuff. So you got the whole thing inside of there for you to make sure you take care of yourself. But you got to make sure you take care of it every day, right? We don't want to miss days. We don't want to be looking like dusties. It does not absolve you from being able to make sure that you brush your teeth. Brush your teeth. It don't fix the teeth problem. Don't fix you ironing your clothes. Don't fix you being able to take care of your business. But it absolutely makes sure that your skin is phenomenal, even when you go in between shaves. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Tiege Hanley. We absolutely appreciate you. Thank you for continuing to hold us down. I might do an official Tiege commercial, but I like just talking authentically to the people. I like giving the people the authentic look of what it is that you're dealing with, and I want you to hear from me personally, because anybody can do that little pitch and they can make some little videos, but very few of us can actually speak to the products of exactly what it is that you're supposed to use. So yeah, Tiege Hanley, 30% off your first order, and then 20% off for life. That's the Anton Daniels pack, 20% off for life. Using any other Tiege pack, make sure that you go ahead and let that go. And make sure you tap into the link that's in the description and take care of it, all right? What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I'm your host, Anton Daniels. We had a phenomenal live stream on After Hours last night. Shout out to Quentin. Shout out to 2K. And shout out to my girl, Mika. I appreciate them for coming through and popping up and then running it up for us. So we always want to acknowledge them. I'm a little bit later than usual today simply because I had a family emergency. Let's just put it like that. And when I say family emergency, usually that translates into people calling me and saying, Anton, I need you to do this. So, yeah, we handled that. So that's cool. We're going to have a more concise, condensed show, I believe, today because I got to head over to the airport and take a flight. So Monday we'll be probably doing a show from a different location. But neither here nor there. How are y'all feeling today? What's going on, friends and family? How y'all feeling? Everybody good? Everybody in a good space? Let me make sure that I give an acknowledgement to my dog, Mike, that dude. Shout out to Mike, that dude, for hitting me up on Cash App, and also my dog Michael. And then I also want to give a round of applause and acknowledge every single one of you guys that continue to pour into what it is that we got going on over here at the Millionaire Morning Show, the Anton Daniels channel, and then After Hours, and then also Room 9 is coming soon. So I made a determination of what I'm going to do with that channel. I'll be letting you guys know soon. I also want to give an acknowledgement to the sponsor of the show, Tiege Hanley, 30% off your first order plus 20% off for life. Ladies, get it for the fellas. Fellas, don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. Also, if you guys are not a part of the Bag Chasers, the Patreon, link is in the description, as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Make sure y'all tap into the Bag Chasers to align yourself with a group of people that's going in the direction that you're going in. If you are a part of the Bag Chasers already, make sure that you click the link to the Discord, which is in the description of any of the most recent videos that I posted, okay? So what's going on, y'all? Y'all said it's payday, Sabrina. Chilling, just got your new glasses and feeling like a new man. I like that. Sensational, feeling Friday. Great. Yeah, y'all said I got them 505s. Oh, man, I don't want to hear that. Feeling great. Morning, family. Awesome. Quentin and his Jeggins had me hollering. Money hungry. Hey, don't you listen? We have really good, clean fun. Like, we joke, we talk about serious stuff, we talk about entertainment stuff, we talk about the money. But no matter what channel that we on, you know that we gonna be entertaining. It's gonna be good fun, and it's all gonna be good energy, and it's all running it up. So I really appreciate y'all for tapping in with me. My dog Quentin is in the building. Ayo says my dark twisted fantasy is #1 of all time. Don't listen to that, y'all. We do appreciate him for continuing to tap into what we got going over here, but that's definitely a horrible take. Certainly not the greatest album of all time, but absolutely positively. So shout out to my people. Shout out to Quentin. Shout out to all of my family and my friends getting it in. Dylan KO says, Happy Friday. Happy Friday, y'all. Shout out to my dog, Dylan KO. First couple super chats of the day, Dylan KO and Aaron. All right, y'all, we can't waste no time. We got a flight to catch, but we definitely don't ever want to miss, because we don't miss under no circumstances. So we're going to go ahead and get into it, y'all. Again, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. So we're going to go ahead and pop it off. Quick hits. Quick Hits is a segment of the show that we don't necessarily think that we need to dedicate an entire segment to, but we definitely want to keep you informed of what's going on out here in these streets. I'm going to be reading super chats throughout the show, so shout out to Elmar H. I appreciate you, my guy. First and foremost, traffic and charges from Milwaukee all the way to Chicago. Disturbing story, but you got to be aware so that you can protect your kids, protect your girls, protect your spouses, even protect yourself.
Trafficked on tape. 2 people are charged after investigators say they lured 2 girls from a Milwaukee gas station and then forced them into prostitution.
Prosecutors say the man and woman then drove the girls to Chicago to perform sex acts. Ashley Sears is in the studio with more on the surveillance video from the gas station. Ashley?
And Ted, that video shows a car pulling up to a group of girls. Investigators say a woman coerced 2 of them into the vehicle. On any given day, there's a lot of traffic along Hampton and 60th. Last week, it was a different type of traffic that led police here. Investigators say 32-year-old Katiana Collins and 49-year-old James Crump pulled into the gas station parking lot, not looking to fill up. Surveillance shows them in a red Mazda, stopping briefly to chat with a group of girls. When the group goes inside, investigators say Collins was right behind them. She's seen chatting with them for several minutes, even buying them food before they all walk out together. After a brief discussion, 2 girls get in a Mazda and drive away. Investigators say they didn't know Crump was also in the car and told the 15-year-olds they were going to Chicago. The girls told police Crump pulled out a black handgun, pointed it at their heads, telling them they'd be forced to perform sex acts. When they got to the Windy City, the teens say Crump and Collins prostituted them, taking all of their money. Investigators say Crump and Collins drove the girls back to Milwaukee, dropped them off at home, and told them they'd be back in a few days. The girls went to family and told them what happened and said they had Colin's cell phone number. Investigators say one of those adults pretended to be one of the girls and said she'd meet up with Collins in a text message. Instead, she recorded Crump and Collins and got their plates. They went to police, who later arrested them.
So let me get this straight. I just want to make sure that we all on the same page here, guys. Let's just put it all in perspective before we go over to the next story. This demon convinced y'all not toddlers, and I'm definitely not victim shaming, but I'm just curious before we actually hold them accountable. Have y'all ever talked to y'all children and said, hey, don't ever take candy from strangers, stranger danger, if anything ever happens? Like, that's one of the first things right after my daughter said, Dad, that's one of the first things that we taught her is, hey, listen, never get in the car with nobody. Be very, very careful. If you see somebody scream, run, yell, whatever. How did a woman that looks like this convince y'all to get in a Mazda after going into the gas station and buying some snacks for y'all? How is that possible? What is it that she could have possibly said to y'all that would convince you to get in a car with a stranger that looked like this inside of a red Mazda? And it's not that I'm blaming the victims. I'm just trying to understand. I'm always trying to figure out what would cause somebody to even put themselves in that position in the first place. I'd be so confused. Like, wait a minute. You just jumped in a car with a random stranger that followed you out of the gas station? Protect your kids, man. Teach them, protect them. Make sure that y'all do the right thing. They'll never, ever be able to get their innocence back. It's really not their fault. Let's be very, very clear. It's not their fault. However, I am always looking to understand, but protect your kids because you don't want to find them in a situation where they getting in somebody's car and then next thing you know, they driving them over to Chicago in order to be slutted out on some prostitution type stuff. And then they're going to have trauma growing up and be blaming men for all of their problems. Anyways, moving over into the next story. 50 Cent actually opened G-Unit Studios in Shreveport, Louisiana. Check it out.
This is NBC6 News at 10.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Alexandra Meacham. It is the big day for the city of Shreveport as Curtis 50 Cent Jackson makes his grand arrival to town. It is our top story tonight. After his public announcement, Mr. Jackson went inside Government Plaza to sign his deal and speak to the media. NBC6's Miriam Samake got to cover all the excitement. She joins us live from a party 50 Cent hosted earlier tonight. Hi, Miriam.
Well, hi, Alex. We're here at Independence Stadium.
Thank y'all for the super chats. Definitely going to be reading those shortly.
Where 50 Cent was just celebrating the launch of G-Unit Studios with family, friends, and loved ones. Earlier today at that press conference, 50 Cent said he is excited to make Shreveport an entertainment capital. Shreveport Mayor Tom Arsenault declared today Curtis 50 Cent Jackson Day at a press conference celebrating 50 Cent's new business venture, G-Unit Studios.
Curtis 50 Cent Jackson.
In December 2023, Shreveport City Council voted unanimously to lease Millennium Studios to 50 Cent. At the press conference, 50 Cent and Mayor Tom Arsenault signed the contract for a 30-year agreement in Millennium Studios, with an option to renew for 15 years. 50 Cent says non-scripted productions are expected to begin in July, and scripted productions will start in January. He says the process for finding employees and local businesses to work with have already begun.
You've seen some of the good things that Tyler Perry done in Atlanta, and you'll see this mirror that to a degree at points, because a lot of the material that I've created is premium television, so it's like bigger productions. Financially, it's more money being put into those projects than what the Tyler Perry budgets are, so they'll see me be able to do things at a different rate out here.
50 Cent hopes to foster talent, create opportunities, and build a community. His G-Unity Foundation empowers urban youth to develop skills they need to excel at life. He says he plans to bring the project to Shreveport.
I created a program that was 3 schools initially, and I'll do it here too. I'll pick those areas that are the rougher areas because that's where I was at. So I'm a little bit selfish in that way, but I'll get to the whole Shreveport.
He also said he would be looking to purchase real estate in Shreveport with the hopes of investing in the city's nightlife with events and state-of-the-art production.
Hey, you got a good mayor. You got a good mayor. We put it together.
We did.
And the party here has concluded, but 50 Cent says that betting on him is not a gamble, it's a sure thing. He says that Shreveport is going to soon feel the impact of G-Unit Studios. Reporting live outside of Independence Stadium, Miriam Smake for NBC6 News.
Congratulations to Fifth. I always like to see people doing, positive things, productive things, as long as it yields results in a positive way, and it's not actually, tearing apart the community, or it ain't no drugs being flooded. You can't do nothing but salute the bro. So shout out to 50 Cent. Now, I know that him congratulating and shaking hands with that mayor, Umar Johnson, not going to be happy about that. So Fifth, you are going to have some pushback. Even when you do something positive, you're going to get it negative, because you shaking that mayor's hand and saying you got a good mayor over there in Shreveport and getting that deal done. Umar Johnson don't like snow hares. Umar Johnson don't like snow hares, okay? He don't like y'all shaking hands with white people. But shout out to 50 for doing something positive, for impacting people, for expanding his business and doing great things. So I have nothing but good things to say about 50 Cent and this new deal over here in Shreveport, Louisiana. And Louisiana need it. It's a town that actually needs growth. A lot of these smaller cities don't get the love and the shine and the investment that they should. But people really need to start looking into it from a business perspective as far as investing in these smaller towns. Honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. I think that smaller towns would be better for y'all budgets, and it would be more conducive to y'all lifestyle. I know everybody want to live in Miami. Everybody want to move and shake down in Atlanta. Everybody want to go down to Houston. You want to go out to LA. Y'all priced out. It's priced out. If I'm a person that's looking to expand my business or grow, or I'm looking to partner with a community or legislators locally in a town, you'll get way further. I think that 50 is a genius in this. He's really, really smart. And I think that if y'all even wanted to adjust and get a lower cost of living and a greater opportunities, and you can actually leverage the fact that you can work remotely or stuff, something like that, look into these smaller towns. That's why I'm flying where I'm flying later on today, is because, I like towns that may not be huge cities, and I like to visit the bigger cities also, but I'm going to just be honest with you. New York, Chicago, Miami, all of those places is full. They big, they full. Houston, all of that, they full, man. And right now, most of them is going through a contracted period of, need I say, losing population outside of continuing to grow it with the migrant crisis. But shout out to 50 Cent. I think that was a great story. That was a phenomenal thing for him to be able to invest in Shreveport, Louisiana. I'd be curious as to why it is that he picked Shreveport, Louisiana. Maybe I need to do an interview with 50 and see if I can reach out to him. Anyways, neither here nor there. And then last but not least, Israel launched a retaliatory strike towards Iran overnight. Check it out.
Overnight, Israel responding to Iran's first direct attack on the country, striking inside Iran. Matt Gutman is in Tel Aviv tracking the latest for us. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, Michael. For several hours overnight, as we learned of those explosions in Iran, there was significant concern of an all-out war erupting between Israel and Iran. But as the sun came up in the region, Iran started downplaying the attack, calling it very limited, and Israeli government and military officials not talking about it at all. Overnight, a senior U.S. official telling ABC News Israel firing back at Iran. Video posted online showing air defense weapons fired over Isfahan
The first reports of explosions in 2 locations in Iran just before sunrise. Iranian state media reporting a drone attack near Isfahan, which houses military bases and research and development sites. The International Atomic Energy Association confirming there was no damage to Iranian nuclear sites in the city. And there were no reports of casualties. Overnight flights to Tehran, Isfahan, and Shrian were suspended but have since resumed, and Iranian media soon switching to showing video of business as usual in Isfahan. Syrian state media also reporting that Israel targeted its air defenses in the country's south. For days, Israel, which has not taken credit for the explosions, weighed its response to Iran's attack Saturday when more than 300 drones and missiles were launched towards several targets throughout Israel, the vast majority of them intercepted. This morning, Iran not blaming Israel directly, saying infiltrators were behind the attack.
And it's one reason Iran is now hinting that there will be no reprisal. And it doesn't seem that Israel at this point is expecting one. Its home front command issuing no new guidelines to civilians ahead of a very busy holiday weekend here. And we should note that that massive missile salvo from Iran last Saturday, Iran saying that was in response to an Israeli airstrike in Damascus that killed multiple Iranian commanders earlier this month.
So just keeping you guys informed on what's going on. Also on top of that, if you remember, I just did a video, I believe it was either yesterday or the day before, where Biden basically said his advice to Israel was to not retaliate. And they literally asked him at a press conference, and they said, what do you think about the chances of them to retaliate? What would you advise them? And he said, don't. And then Israel went ahead and they did it anyway. But we're going to continue to fund Israel. We're going to continue to fund Ukraine. We're going to continue to fund Taiwan. We're going to continue to be a part of these proxy wars. It's all money. It's all politics. It doesn't necessarily benefit you, but, you know, we pick and choose the places that we want to support. Meanwhile, Sudan is over there suffering. 10,000 people a day is dying and don't nobody care, but because I guess there's no money to be made over there. But neither here nor there. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your quick hits. All right, let me go ahead and read some of these super chats, and then we're going to get started with the show. Lamar H says, what up, Anton? I don't get a chance to catch you live a lot, but I do support. But the support is always there, big dog. Shout out to the Chasers. Can we get a round of applause to the Bag Chasers? Shout out to Lamar. Wendell Kilgore, I appreciate you, Lamar. Wendell Kilgore says, morning, AD. Happy Friday to you. I appreciate all that you do. I got back on my high horse reviewing my YouTube analytics. Excited to be back and run it up. I'm sowing this seed to you. God bless you. Thank you, Wendell. Y'all got to make sure that y'all being consistent. Anything that you do, the success in it is being consistent and then doing it long enough to actually get the growth and the rewards as a result of it. So when y'all start and y'all stop, y'all start, y'all stop, y'all start, y'all stop, y'all give y'all audience no reason to subscribe to you or to rock with you or to check for you because they don't even know when you coming. Lashad Took says, salute, big dog. Let's get this bag. Shout out to Lashad. I appreciate you, bro. DJ Ace Productions in the building says, safe travels and pack your jeans. I got regular jeans this time. Jason Stagum says, salute to you as always, AD. Happy Friday. And everyone, especially my fellow bag chasers, happy Bitcoin halving day. Shout out to my dog, Jason Stakums. Manders 3026. Shout out to Manders. That's my snow bunny over there. Said yesterday's Millionaire Morning Show got me so pumped and inspired to do better. When my mind goes negative, I will then watch your show and it gives me the kick in the butt that I need. So thank you. Shout out to you, baby girl, Manders. Let me tell you something. Again, I say this all the time, that one of the reasons why I do the Millionaire Morning Show in the morning is because I want to be the first person to tap into y'all when y'all start y'all day so that y'all can start it off positive, because you're going to be fighting all of these negative demons, negative thoughts, issues, and problems, people that's negative naysayers, and they saying what you can and can't do. And so that's why it's so important for me to be here every single weekday to get y'all started on y'all day. And then we end the night off with a laugh and entertainment, because it adds value into your life, and then you guys add value into my life because you hold me accountable and making sure that I'm always doing the thing and being a representative of what I'm advocating for you guys to do. So I have to live it in order to advocate it for you, right? That's why we show the receipts. So shout out to Manders and keep getting it, baby girl. I love you. P. Shank in the building says, good morning, Mr. Anton Daniels in the Millionaire Morning Show. Always consistent. LeGarrett in the building says support. Shout out to LeGarrett. I appreciate you. Ari Reed says, Much love to Anton. Just want to show my appreciation for all of the game you provide. I'll be scheduling a coaching call soon. Shout out to Ari. Yes, another bag chaser. Chris James in the building. Let me get a round of applause. Chris has been holding me down. Chris is over there rich in real life. He rich in real life. Says, just saying hello before my meeting and morning to the chat. You know, you see how y'all love on each other? Y'all don't even just say hi to me. Y'all say hi and what up to each other. So I appreciate you, Chris. I appreciate everybody with the good energy. We always got that good energy. If y'all not a part of the Bag Chasers, link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Shout out to my dog, Chris, my rich friends. Says, Dizza says, hey, AD, quick advice. I'm 25 and just paid off my $18,000 car in 2 years. I have $10,000 and looking to leave one of two of my warehouse jobs. Also looking to invest in HVAC school, SCHOOL. We with that, but shout out to you for paying off your car. Any advice on the best way to invest my $10,000? I think that you need to put it into a brokerage account. And if you have zero debt, just continue to dollar cost average. So if you're a part of the Patreon, and one of the things that we do is we do Stock Club. And Stock Club allows for us to actually show you how it is that you're supposed to invest your money over a longer period of time in order to get the compound interest and the results so that we can get really rich, right? One of the things that I tell my bag chasers to do is to leverage a brokerage account, not a savings account, not a checking account. You need a checking account to make sure that you continue to run it up and invest in yourself and be able to transfer money back and forth and get your direct deposits. But I always advocate for people to get a brokerage account because the brokerage account allows for you to then invest in things that you otherwise would not have had access to via the stock market. And then in Stock Club, what we do is we break down different segments. We go into trash, we go into hospitality, we go into banking, we go into technology, FANG stocks, Magnificent Seven. We compare our portfolios. We talk about the 8 things that we look for in order to invest in a company. And so that's then going to break down what you should leverage your resources for. The reason why I like brokerage accounts is because it makes sure that my money is always working for me, right? And then as it accumulates, when opportunities come that are bigger, I then can tap into that resource and then get that money within 2 to 3 business days and then buy something bigger like real estate. So you just want to continue to roll your money over, right? It's not what you should invest in. It's basically having an investor's mindset. Now that you've gotten from under duress and you no longer have to worry about the debt part, now you're investing in yourself. You're investing in your companies. You leveraging that money to continue to make more money over a period of time. So as you grow and as you evolve and as you continue to be around people that's going in the direction that you're going in, what you'll then find yourself doing is taking advantage of opportunities because then you'll have the capital to make bigger investments, which would then yield bigger results over a longer period of time. So make sure that y'all invest in yourself. I always advocate for people to get a brokerage account. If you do not have a brokerage account, Fidelity is not paying me for this. Make sure that y'all go get a brokerage account. I leverage Fidelity specifically. Invest in y'all 401ks, y'all 403bs, your Roth 401ks, and then dollar cost average. Dollar cost average means that you put a percentage of your money every single week or every single month or every single pay period into it to continue to roll that over. And we don't change because the market goes up and down. So we're not day trading. We making plays for the next 10 years. You know what I'm saying? So phenomenal question. I love that question. And again, congratulations to you, big dog, for getting that bag up and running it up. I love that. Shout out to the Chasers. Jay Johnson says, blessings to you, AD. What up, though, to the Chasers and the Patreon gang. My bad for the early one-on-one payment. I ain't meaning no disrespect. Just encourage it. What do you mean? I don't know. I didn't see any disrespect. But shout out to Jay Johnson for supporting the platform. My dog, Lyric the Gamer, says Shreveport is a cheaper option in New Orleans. They drove out a lot of the businesses, including the filming industry. I'm going to have to check out Shreveport. I don't think I've ever been there. Trey D says, always tune in for the world news. Excellent work, Anton. Absolutely, my friend. Thank you. And then my dog, shout out. Jesus Christ. Shout out to you. I appreciate you all. Everybody that give $1, $5, whatever y'all give. I don't ask for it, but I'm always appreciative of y'all always pouring into what it is that we do over here at the Millionaire Morning Show. So support, love, I love you guys. I appreciate y'all, and I'm going to continue to read super chats throughout the show. Shout out to Sister. Shout out to Kojak. Shout out to the True to Myself. Everybody in the chat. I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. And let's get to it. Y'all ready? Y'all ready to rock out? All right. First things first, we got to visit Chicago. And the reason that we got to visit Chicago is because I hate talking about Chicago right now. I used to love talking about Chicago. It used to be a fun thing because, you know, you would look at the dysfunction and you would say, man, look at these people and these legislators, and they just continue to vote these same people in over and over and over and over again. And I couldn't figure out why. I can't figure out why. But Chicago is basically plunging themselves from a crime lens into practically being unlivable. I mean, the taxes is high. If y'all compare property taxes in Chicago and regular taxes in Chicago, again, I'm trying to figure out, why do people even still live there, considering that it's not conducive to raise a family? It's not conducive financially. They act like they don't know that crime is going on, and now they just advocating for more money in order to be able to support migrants. And so, let me not explain. I'll show you for yourself. Every single day. Now it's starting to happen in broad daylight. Check it out.
Chicago is warning students to be alert after several armed robberies have been reported on or near campus yesterday. You can see one here caught on camera.
And WGN's Courtney Spinelli is joining us from the campus where she spoke with one of the victims. Courtney.
Yeah, Micah and Ray, the first of two alleged armed robberies that happened yesterday was right here along this busy stretch of South University Avenue on the university's campus. A young woman was one of two victims here. You'll see her in a video that captured those moments in just a moment, but she tells us she is thankfully physically okay.
You never think it will be you, and then when I was confronted with that moment, I was just in utter disbelief.
It was an ordinary walk back from class Wednesday afternoon that took an unexpected turn for this University of Chicago senior.
I've always felt safe personally. You know, it's upsetting that as students we get these alerts all of the time.
And Maddie found herself at the center of one issued later in the day by campus police. According to a security alert, two armed robberies happened within just 5 minutes. All three victims, students.
I've walked that street every day for 4 years, so my guard was down and I would have never expected it to happen there.
Let me tell you something. When we start to get to the white women, the HWYTE, listen, shout out to my snow bunnies. Shout out to my snow bunnies in the chat. Y'all know that Anton is a lover, not a fighter, meaning that I love everybody and I do not align myself with people based off of the color of their skin, but the content of their character. But when our white women in the middle of the daytime is starting to get attacked, you know that it's a problem over there in Chi-Town. Listen. Black people over there, Hispanics, they used to it. But not on a college campus in the middle of the daytime. Look, they always go. Most colleges, even community colleges, have their own police force. Most colleges, even community colleges, a lot of times, have their own police in addition to the Chicago police. So you know it's getting brazen over there when the snow bunnies is getting taken advantage of. In front of people, look, it's people walking around. It's a church across the street. They got green grass, something you don't often see inside of Chicago. And the people just running up on each other.
It was just before 3 in the 5600 block of South University when campus police say two students on opposite sides of the street were approached by 4 suspects armed with handguns.
I'm walking on the sidewalk and I see a man approaching me in a mask and kind of was just like, let me just keep walking.
Maddie says a confrontation happened and the suspect demanded her phone before flashing the gun. The pair got into a tussle.
I was grabbing for maybe my phone, maybe the gun.
You know, they ain't used to that. They not used to that. She got her book bag on. She stood up. She said, I don't care nothing about your gun. Listen, boy, listen. You barking up the wrong tree if you starting to trying to rob white women. Look, robbing white men is one thing. Robbing white women, that's a no-go. That's a no-go, buddy. Listen, of all the people that you could have chose, you chose a budding graduate in Chicago with Uggs on and jogging pants? you know they're going to fight back. So either you're going to have to take it all away and catch the full charge, or you're going to be struggling and she's going to try to scratch your eyes out and all of that stuff. See, Chicago is a weird place, bro. It's a really crazy place because you don't target young white women, HWYTE. Even Umar Johnson will tell you that.
And it's really like a blackout moment for me. And I realized that I was able to grab the magazine out of the gun.
The loaded magazine now in police custody, Maddie says, and she hopes it will help solve the crime. Just minutes after
she grabbed a loaded gun, took out the magazine. Gotcha, buddy. Can't believe you would try to rob me on the university. I walk this street every single day. Have y'all ever dealt with an older white woman that's the head of the homeowners association? Trust me. If you never have dealt with an older white woman that is the head of the homeowners association, you got another thing coming, buddy. I'm sorry, Mr. Daniels. Your tenants seem to be having a party. It's not a party, Susan. It's just a large gathering. Susan, they're able to do that according to the bylaws and Section 13-15736. They are authorized to park on the street if they're having a large graduation gathering. And they look just like you, Madison. Okay, but listen, I get it. I understand. However, Mr. Daniels, I don't want them parking in front of the driveway. It's my driveway. According to the Bible, you didn't read the second section, the subsection of Section 13-47312. You cannot park in front of your own driveway. On the street, no less. Okay, Madison. Okay, Susan, I got you. I'm telling you. And listen, it's not necessarily bad for the neighborhood because they keep things in check. But if you've never dealt with a older snow hare, in the homeowners association, you would know better than to try to rob them and to try to rob their daughters on a Chicago college campus. No
After
less.
that ordeal sent people in the area scrambling to safety. Another armed robbery involving 2 suspects with handguns reported in the 1300 block of East 56th Street. That crime under investigation by the Chicago Police Department.
I want to feel safer on this campus. That's the bottom line.
I think we can always ask for more from our campus and our city.
Look how aggressive she is. You see that? She's definitely going to be the head of an association one day.
Maddie says she hopes fellow students and staff are vigilant and keep their guard up. When all said and done, she says her reaction was a knee-jerk one, and she's thankful to be okay.
And she looking at the boy on the grass like, you didn't call the police, you didn't help? Did you see her turn around and look at it? Look at her.
When all said and done, she says her reaction was a knee-jerk one, and she's thankful to be okay.
I couldn't necessarily really register the threat ahead of me, so definitely wouldn't advocate.
Look, you see, white boys run. Madison stand tall. 5'2", 113 pounds. The white boy got up once she yelled at him, pulled out his cell phone, started calling the police. Madison ain't messing around. She's like a pit bull.
For fighting back, losing a life over a phone is definitely not worth it.
Now, police say there were no injuries reported in any of these incidents. The suspect did make off with Maddie's phone, but she was told it was ditched and she did get it back later by campus police. No arrests have been announced in any of these incidents, and in both of those armed robberies yesterday, police say the suspects took off in a 4-door, dark black in color sedan.
But that's not the only thing that's happening in Chicago over the last 24 hours. Now, we know that it's going to be warm this weekend. And so if you guys are in Chicago, make sure that you close your doors, lock your windows. Don't stand up too tall in the middle of the night because there's bullets coming through windows. We know this, okay? How do we know it? Well, let me show you. It's a robbing demon over there in Chicago right now.
Right now, Chicago police are still looking for a prolific armed robbery crew.
Look at all of the red dots.
Locations on this map represent spots they hit in just a matter of days. CBS 2's Maribel Gonzalez is live with the growing concerns about these crimes. Maribel. Erica, one resident reached out to us telling us she now lives in fear. That's because several of these armed robberies happened within just blocks of her home off camera. She tells us her neighbors are calling on the city and CPD to step in to help combat this crime. Watch as this black car pulls into this commercial parking lot on West North Avenue in Old Town. 4 masked people jump out and point a gun and a green laser into the surveillance camera. This is the same crew police say was involved in another armed robbery nearby. Both incidents happened in the early morning hours on April 5th. And now at least 15 armed robberies since Friday, targeting neighborhoods on the north side like North Center, Lincoln Park, Lakeview, and Belmont Cragen.
If y'all on the north side, be very, very careful. Be very, very aware. Again, keep your doors locked. There are guys walking around, riding around in stolen black cars with masks on, poosh icy masks on, with green lasers, and they are not caught by the police. They probably did a good 15 robberies over the last few days, and they have not been caught, and they just out here running around, wilding out. We know that Shot Spotter is being removed. We know that the migrant crisis is being funded. The police, for some reason, has been unable to catch these guys. The police, for some reason, has been unable to catch these guys. Okay, so be very, very careful. They on the lookout. If you don't have a white woman with you, then stand down and get out the way.
Although police can't confirm if these recent ones are related to the ones in Old Town, they appear to have similarities. They're all happening in the early morning hours, and they all involve anywhere from 4 to 8 men ages 18 to 25 dressed in black clothing, something that's especially noteworthy for criminologist Arthur Larigio.
The difference between these armed...
What the fuck is on your head? I'm sorry. I know that y'all be listening in the church and stuff like that, so... Oh, you rang. What is that? Boy is death warmed over 3 times. Got that yellow light, got that tube. What is on his head? Is that real hair? I know we talking about the criminals in Chicago. You rang. What is on that man's head? Is he real? Somebody call Men in Black. Find out if we got aliens on this planet. That can't be a real man. That cannot be a real man. No freaking way.
For criminologist Arthur Larigio.
The difference between these armed robberies and the ones that I've studied over the years, the number of offenders. This is truly organized criminal activity that might be part of an involving...
Miss Joyce said, what in the possum fur is that? Oh, every time that you know what? If I'm going to get my $30 million, I need to turn the chat off. That's what I realized. If we going to get this money and if we ever going to get this big contract, I just got to turn the chat off because this is not working for me.
Evolving.
Oh, they gave us a close-up. Hold on.
That might be part of an involving.
Oh no, he got some lint in that joint too. See now, if I show up like this, y'all not gonna give me no grace. I said that I was gonna go ahead and get my hair back, and I was gonna show up just like this, no hairline, just going with swoops down the side, and then go ahead and leading into the beard. And y'all want to give me a hard time. No, Anton, don't grow your hair back. You're going to be looking like a fool. He did it. Look at him. So you telling me that I shouldn't be able to grow my hair back considering what he just did? If it wasn't for me, nobody would call this bad behavior out. If it wasn't for the Millionaire Morning Show, nobody would call this bad behavior out. He got on makeup. He got on foundation. He put his hair on. Look at how it's stacked on top of each other. Oh, Anton, you can't get hair. Look, he did it. Well, nobody giving him a hard time.
Evolving structure and enterprise.
In this recent spree, Chicago police say the suspects approach the victims on the street, pull out a handgun, and demand their phones and belongings before fleeing the scene in a car. 11 out of those 15 robberies taking place in the morning hours of April 15th.
Be very, very careful of what's going on in Chicago, ladies and gentlemen. It's a lot of robbing sprees, crime, everything happening all over the place. Bad hair. It's just a demon running around in Chicago. So shout out to the Chi-Town for that great content. I just wanted to make sure that I keep my people aware of that first segment in Millionaire Morning Show. Ken J says, dude said, that's not my job. In his Mac Dre voice. Facts. That's a fact. He made sure that he stayed out the way. For real, for real. Spaces in the building says, so they'll use white reporters in the daytime, but have my girl Mugo with the neck brace out at night, huh? I see the play here. Shout out to Mugo. Mugo is new to the team. So Mugo got to put her time in. You know what I'm saying? AR Smitty is in the building, says, I don't know, Time Dog. Brandon Johnson said, my heart breaks for you, man. Hold on, let me reset it. Brandon Johnson says, my heart breaks for you, ma'am. But this is bigger than you. White women can get this work too. Shout out to my dog, Brandon Johnson. And then I got my dog, Mike. I have my 12-year-old's old daughter listening to you. Shout out to Cassie. Girl, you wanna go to my hotel? Then I'm gonna give you my room key. Shout out to Cassidy in the building, Cassidy. Hey, we love you, Cass. And your father is absolutely, positively one of the greatest human beings on the face of this earth. Let me get another round of applause. Hotel, motel, holiday inn, say what? That was my jam right there. Y'all ain't never heard that Cassidy song? Girl, you wanna go to my hotel? All right, I gotta stay focused because I'm up against a time crunch. Jay Ben says, bro, I'm wearing a natural book shiesty. Shout out to Jay Ben in the building. Time Dog is really, really never able to stay on time because I'm out here fooling around with y'all. Lisa says, I love all of your videos. You're amazing. And I agree almost everything that you talk about. Yes. I got my people in here. All right, y'all. Y'all ready to get over to the next thing? All right, we got to get over to your NBA Youngboy. But before I get over to NBA actually, you know what? I want to talk about NBA Youngboy first. So, NBA Youngboy. Did y'all know that NBA Youngboy was arrested for fraud? I visited Salt Lake City, right? And I went out there to see a friend, a very, 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 very significant friend. Actually, me and Rita both went out to Salt Lake City. And when we landed in Salt Lake City and we was hanging out with our rich friends, man, listen, Salt Lake City has some of the most beautiful views, gorgeous views as far as of the mountains and stuff like that. Very, very nice place. Everybody is friendly. Airport is beautiful. Salt Lake City has one of the greatest environments and most conducive environments that I've ever experienced. It was a really great time over in Salt Lake. And when I got over there and I was talking to my really, really rich friend, what was this, last year or the year before, Rita? Might have been last year. Might have been a year before, actually. I don't know. But anyways, we was in Salt Lake City, and they said, hey, NBA Youngboy is my neighbor. Would you like for me to try to contact him in order to get an interview? And I was like, nah. And one of the reasons I said nah is because it was impromptu. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't want to barge in and take advantage of, you know, my connection to this person. I just so happened to know that person. And it was unscheduled. You know what I'm saying? And so I just kind of don't do business that way. And I probably should have and took advantage of the moment. However, I was trying to be courteous. I was trying to be professional. And so I turned down my friend's offer to reach out to their friend that could then reach out to NBA Youngboy and possibly do an interview. Now, I didn't know a whole lot about NBA Youngboy at the moment, but I realized that after I got home, I started doing a little bit of research on him because Charleston White had been talking about him on my platform. And when Charleston White said something and I clipped it up, it wound up doing like 1 million views just like that. I said, is NBA Youngboy that popular? Is NBA Youngboy that popular? And it was like, yeah. And then I started rethinking my decision. I was like, man, I should have probably tried to wing that one. You know what I'm saying? However, neither here nor there. Lost opportunity. Not saying that he would ever agree to it in the first place, but it was definitely a lost opportunity. But I say all that to say this. That's my history and my understanding of NBA Youngboy to an extent. And recently, NBA Youngboy on house arrest, dropping album after album after album after album, has been arrested again. And you won't believe why this time. Trying to stay out of the news, trying to stay focused, on house arrest, doing what he do, and then he wound up getting arrested again. This is why.
New information tonight after singer and rapper NBA Youngboy faces dozens of charges.
As we have reported, Mark, that he was taken into custody in Cache County, accused of organizing fraudulent drug prescriptions at Utah pharmacies, legally known as Kentrell Galden. He's been on house arrest in Utah since 2021. Ariel Harrison live tonight after speaking with one of those targeted businesses. Ariel.
Yeah, well, one pharmacist I spoke with said they thankfully didn't fulfill that order as they noticed some red flags. But unfortunately, others weren't so lucky. Now, tonight.
Do y'all see the headlines right there as they add the context? That boy facing 60 different charges. Let me tell y'all something. They not messing around no more. Nobody is playing games. When you do a crime now, unless you an immigrant that or a legal immigrant that come into this country, you going under the jail. If you have any visibility, if you got any money, if you can get convicted in the court of public opinion, if they can throw a charge at you, they throwing the book. They are throwing everything. 60. They threw more charges at that boy than Trump. 60. They not playing no games. Listen, y'all. Don't cross and do a jaywalk. Don't do no fraud. Don't try stealing. They are about to start making an example out of y'all, boy, especially if you live in a conservative town like Salt Lake City. They not messing around. They are absolutely positively going to throw everything at you. Everything. 60.
The young celebrity who already had a criminal history now faces more than 60 related charges to this alleged scheme. Pharmacy owner Eric Stewart says hearing news of an arrest in the fraud ring investigation involving his business was a relief.
I'm just happy that they were able to connect the dots.
Last September, Stewart says his team at Reed's Pharmacy in Hiram got a call from someone claiming to be a doctor needing to fill a prescription, something he called the first red flag.
Usually don't get a doctor calling in a cough syrup themselves. That'll be like a nurse or something. But then just their medical terminology was off, the quantities, the way they pronounce the things. Everything was suspicious.
Like Stewart's case, arrest documents reveal multiple other pharmacies across Utah were targeted too. According to investigators, callers linked to Youngboy would call in prescriptions using the name of a real doctor in Provo in some cases, but giving fake patient information. Individuals would then pick up the order from pharmacies, mainly promethazine and codeine.
These type of medications they're trying to get are regulated, so throwing a chink in the process can really disrupt potential opportunities to get the medication you actually need.
Somebody said Youngboy beat his Fed case, now they trying again. So is it they that's trying, or is it bad habits? Come on, man, listen, I know y'all like these people, but we got to be objective so that we can get to the understanding or have some level of understanding as to how we're supposed to move and then hopefully influence other people in a positive way. We got to change our mindset. Promethazine, codeine. Yo, listen, this is the stuff that people rap about all the time. These people be high, they be messed up. And your bad habits and the people that surround you is getting you jammed up. Your addictions and your bad habits often at times lead to the worst possible consequences for you. And it's playing out right before our eyes. Now you facing 60 charges because nobody around you was like, hey, man, we shouldn't be calling in the pharmacies getting promethazine and codeine. We should probably stop, or, man, we got to kick this habit because, man, we going to go to jail. This is a Fed. This is a Fed charge. This is a Fed charge. And I'm not saying that they did it because I believe in innocent until proven guilty, and so they got to prove it in a court of law. But somebody got to be around you and say, hey, man, nah, bro, I mean, we probably shouldn't be calling into the pharmacy acting like doctors and we lean addicts in order to try to get some more promethazine and codeine. How long could this possibly last? This ain't got nothing to do with they trying. Got everything to do with the pharmacists. All of the pharmacists was all around like, hey, man, it's a suspicious activity over here. People is calling in and saying that they're a doctor and ordering this stuff in. Come on, bro.
Weber County Sheriff's teams helped take Galden into custody with federal partners just yesterday.
We believe this to be several more months of work for us.
Efforts local business owners like Stewart appreciate.
But when it's on a bigger scale like this, it's more concerning, right? Because they're pretty persistent, and I mean, it's just a big disruption to us, and it's just a headache for us to have to deal with.
Now the 24-year-old rapper is booked at the Cache County Jail, facing 63 different charges related to this, including having a dangerous weapon as a restricted person. Reporting live, Ariel Harrison, KUTV2 News.
Crazy, bro. Let me see if I can mine out a little bit more information as a result of this.
Rapper NBA Youngboy is not in a great place right now after just being arrested on a slew of new charges, including identity fraud, all while he's on house arrest in Utah on other charges. We're going to talk about what is going on here with attorney and hip-hop legal expert Afi Patterson. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm on a lot of hip-hop stories here on Sidebar, and now we got another one for you that actually might have a connection to one of our bigger trials that we covered. I'm talking about rapper Youngboy, Never Broke Again, or NBA Youngboy. Well, he has just found himself in a lot of hot water after he was arrested out in Utah. The artist, whose real name is Kentrell Galden, has been booked into the Cache County Jail on a number of charges. In fact, according to jail records, the listed charges are pattern of unlawful activity, procuring or attempting to procure drug prescriptions, identity fraud, forgery, possession of other controlled substances, possession of a dangerous weapon by a restricted person. Now, KUTV2 News.
Listen to these charges, bro. Pattern of I didn't even know that was a charge. Pattern of unlawful activity. What kind of charge is that? Procuring or attempting to procure drugs and prescriptions. Okay. Identity fraud. That's you calling and acting like you somebody else. Forgery. You went in there and signed it. Possession of other controlled substances. So you got more than just that one drug. Possession of a dangerous weapon by a restricted person. You ain't supposed to have pistols in your crib. Jesus Christ.
Possession of a dangerous weapon by a restricted person. Now, KUTV2 News out in Utah. Remember Brian Schnee? Talked a lot with him and his associates during the Ruby Frankie case. Well, they have reported that Youngboy is actually looking at potentially 63 formal charges. This according to an arrest affidavit. And according to this arrest affidavit, this is pursuant to, quote, a large-scale prescription fraud ring.
Listen, bro, it's just not worth it. For all of y'all that think that it's easier to take the shortcut or you don't want to kick the habit, it's just not worth it, man. It really ain't worth it. It don't matter how much money you got. It don't matter what your status is. The risk is just not worth it. We already got enough that we trying to fight in a general sense, and that, you know, they wanna take more than you know they should when it comes to taxes. And you know, you got to deal with stuff on a regular basis. You don't need to add to that. You don't need that type of headache. And we trying to live a long time, and we trying to have a great life. You know what I'm saying? So prayers up for him. I hope everything work out for him and he get his life together and he starts to get sober and he surround himself with the right people that can add value into your life. Because what's the point of having all of this money and then you got to go to jail as a result of it? It's just not worth it, in my opinion. Let me go ahead and read some of the super chats, and we're going to continue over the show. Patty Jackson says, yo, Anton, what's your opinion on velocity banking? What the hell is velocity banking? Let me look it up. Velocity banking is a strategy where you use a credit line as your primary account and use lump sums to pay off a loan, usually a mortgage. No. No. Anything regarding a credit line, but it does not actually expand a business that you're building or a business that you already got revenue for is absolutely positively a no-go. The only time that you should have a credit line, in my opinion, is if you're actually expanding a business that is already profitable and you're trying to scale up faster because it's going to generate way more revenue. Other than that, stay away from anything credit line related. You don't need it. They're always throwing these new terms in order to try to make it a little bit more cooler or a little bit more interesting, or you can do this faster. It's another way for them to market in order to charge you interest on money that you don't even need in the first place. Stay away from that junk, bro. Honestly, stay away from it. I don't agree with it. If you're asking me my personal opinion, I'm telling you to stay away from it. That's my personal opinion. Jay Johnson says, I was watching an older YouTuber and he got his name wrong. He called him NBA Young Man. Yeah, shout out to you. Wealth Building Journey says, wherever you go, there you are. That's a fact. You got to take yourself with you. I don't care if you go to Salt Lake City or New York City. Freedom Kev podcast in the building says, listen to Nevada by NBA Youngboy. You'll like it, Anton. All right, I'll check it out. I listened to it on my way to the airport. You Can't Stop the Rain says, Milk of Magnesia. Salute to your channel. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for holding me down. Let's see. Jack, Mr. I'm in the Bind Carter. I'm in the Bind Nate Carter says, what up, though? Yeah. What up, Jack? I appreciate you for holding me down. Next Level MF, my dog, says they are charging him under Utah's state RICO. They don't play no games over there in Utah, man. Y'all got to stay out when y'all trying to take care of business. Stay out of the way, bro. Stay out of the way. So, anyways, let me continue over with the show. St. Louis. Let's talk about St. Louis, for example. St. Louis is very much aggravated right now because St. Louis has been labeled by the Wall Street Journal as a real estate nightmare. Now, St. Louis has been on my list of cities to visit for a long time. As a matter of fact, one of my cardinal rules, I've been kind of breaking it a little bit lately, but not so much. One of my cardinal rules is that I won't necessarily bring a city to the front of the congregation as far as saying something negative about the city itself or its leaders until I actually visit the city. And so one of the people that I've actually talked to is my dog, Yaki Awakened. Yaki Awakened is a great guy. Some of y'all may have seen the interview that I did with him on my platform on the Anton Daniels channel, and he's really, really good at holistic healing and stuff like that. Shout out to my dog, Yaki Awakened. He actually has a headquarters. He's born and raised in St. Louis. And even though he could go anywhere and he can take his business anywhere that he wants, he's similar to me in that he decided that he wanted to keep his business in the city and then focus on and work on building up the place that he grew up in and not running away from it because he feels like it's a lot of people that's in other cities that's already doing whatever it is that they want to do. Neither here nor there. But St. Louis has been on my radar for a while because everybody keep telling me how bad St. Louis is. I don't know about that. I got to go and see it for myself. So before we continue, let me go ahead and show y'all what the Wall Street Journal is basically saying about St. Louis and then how the locals, the politicians, and the experts are reacting to it. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
New at 9, the Wall Street Journal highlights problems in downtown St. Louis we've been reporting on since last year. The news comes just as the city celebrated a weekend of sports, bringing in more than 100,000 fans to downtown. Fox 2's Jeff Bernthal is live tonight with reaction to St. Louis making national news. Jeff.
Yeah, national news, and not in a good way for sure. Greater St. Louis Inc. points out that these issues have been around for a while. They say they've been working to address them and point out there are positive factors that should not be ignored. We've reported on the railway exchange problems, and now it's garnered national headlines. The Wall Street Journal highlighting shuttered office space in downtown, calling St. Louis a real estate nightmare.
The future of downtowns is going to be a lot more mixing of uses. So it's got to be a lot more residential. We've already started to see that.
In fact, Greater St. Louis Inc. estimates more than 10,000 residents live downtown.
Before I moved here, I was under the impression that, people were leaving in the masses, but as I moved down here and live down here, I don't see that.
The group Citizens for a Greater Downtown St. Louis released its own statement expressing hope the negative national attention will be a wake-up call to work collaboratively to address problems the group says it's been highlighting for years.
Overall, the quality of life downtown is pretty good.
Residents we spoke with feel positive about downtown's future.
A wonderful place to live, and it's going to get better.
When we look at things like hotel bookings that are up, we see visitorship to the Arch, which is way up. There are a number of positive signs.
Weigel says downtown is also seeing restaurant growth. There's also word celebrity chef Gordon Ramsay is expected to open a new restaurant at the Four Seasons. As for this eyesore,
we're working with a development team, with architectural and financial experts from St. Louis and across the country on a program, basically a series of uses and financing strategy for.
See, and this is why I don't necessarily listen to the national news, because if they painted the picture the way that they wanted to in order to get the clicks and views, and this is why I like also visiting places for myself. I have been hearing stuff about Milwaukee for a long time, and then when I actually went and visited Milwaukee for myself, I'm like, man, Milwaukee is actually pretty awesome. Real talk. And I'm assuming that it's probably the same with St. Louis, and that we have to have a balanced reporting, and we have to really be able to go into it with honesty. The context matters, and the context clues matters, and also being able to see it for yourself will give you a better experience. And the people that actually live there saying, no, it's not what they making it out to be. Actually, we growing and we doing well. You know what I'm saying? So I don't just take what a national outlet says, is because a lot of times for a long time we suffer from the same thing here in Detroit. But everybody that comes here, everybody that visit, every NBA player that come through and sit on the couch and have a conversation to do an interview, every woman that comes in and that I collaborate with, every content creator, everybody that visits, they be like, man, this is nothing like what they saying on the news. This is completely different. And so maybe St. Louis is getting a bad rap, and maybe I need to actually go and visit myself so I could see what's really going on and not just take the national news word for it. Let me look at another video where they actually reacted to what they were saying, because they call in St. Louis a doom loop. Are y'all familiar with what a doom loop is? Check it out.
Rundown buildings and vacant high rises. It is no secret downtown St. Louis has seen better days. Well, now it's getting national attention for being stuck in a so-called doom loop. The Wall Street Journal article calls St. Louis a real estate nightmare and a cautionary tale for other cities.
The report runs down a list of problems First Alert 4 has covered now for years. Investigator Susan El Khoury asked city leaders about the issues they admit need fixing.
Midday in downtown St. Louis, there's no lunch rush, and it's not the rain that's keeping people away.
It's absolutely worrisome.
It's easy to spot the empty, graffiti-covered, and falling apart buildings. The AT&T Tower, Railway Exchange, and Millennium Hotel, all glaring reminders of what the city lost.
But see, hold on, let me see something really quickly. Because I was just looking at something that said that building just sold. Louis, ATT. See, just 9 days ago they said something else. All right, so let me show y'all this really quickly, because I knew I had seen something different. Because they acting like that's news. This is what I heard. Just wanted to see that really quickly while I finish the rest of this article.
Vacancies filling a national headline as the Wall Street Journal claims St. Louis is in a downward spiral and should serve as a warning for other cities.
I think this needs to be a wake-up call for our city, for our region, that this is our brand, this is our name, this is how people think of St. Louis.
Alderwoman Kara Spencer represents parts of downtown. She believes this national spotlight highlights years-old problems of companies closing or moving to the county.
St. Louis City should not be competing with Clayton. We should be working together to compete on the national, international scale.
Spencer points to changes the city is making passing bills allowing St. Louis to use eminent domain to redevelop problem properties like the Railway Exchange.
Those large buildings are a huge impediment.
In a statement, Mayor Tashara Jones said, "I am optimistic about the future of our city and confident in my administration's ability to continue our focused revitalization of downtown." She went on, "The city of St. Louis is building towards a day in the not too distant future when downtown serves as a cultural beacon for our entire region."
But you know what I'm thinking about, honestly? Because I'm not even looking at it from the perspective of, oh man, the city got a bad rap. I'm looking at it as, because I'm going to just tell you, like, it's almost too late here in the city of Detroit. But I've made a bundle. Like, I've done really, really well staying put in the city and seeing how things has transpired. I'm wondering, is it a buying opportunity over in St. Louis? Because whenever you see a city that's getting a bad rap, for me, that's a buying opportunity, right? And I've always been taught by every mentor that I've had that has ever, gotten rich or been incredibly successful. They said, Anton, the money is not in selling. The money is not in just trying to make money and make a profit. The money is always in the buying opportunities. He said, Anton, rich people buy. Rich people look for opportunities. They take advantage and they buy. And so I need to find out what's going on over in St. Louis, honestly. Whereas other people looking at it, oh man, look, bro, it's always an opportunity where everybody else is seeing negative. For me, I see opportunity. And so when I see these news articles and stuff, all that's telling me is that I need to take a trip over to St. Louis.
I am hopeful that a lot of positive things are trending on the up and up for downtown.
Alderman Rasheen Aldridge also represents parts of downtown. He says developments like City Park, getting the Battlehawks back, and the planned Gateway South expansion help drive progress.
Are you concerned about any potential fallout or effect from this article?
I think there is a fear. Will it be an impact? I believe so, but I don't think it'll be a lasting impact as people do come to St. Louis and they see, actually, it's not that bad.
Hoping to rewrite St. Louis, being called a real estate nightmare.
This is a great opportunity for a comeback story.
In downtown St. Louis, Susan L. Corey, First Alert 4.
Because the major cities is not going to go, they're not going away. And so what happens in a lot of instances is that things become cyclical and that you'll have a good, a growth opportunity and then it goes down. And then once you get the right leadership that actually got the right mindset and partner with the business community, things always turn around for major cities. So, might be a buying opportunity. It may be a big opportunity. I might have to go and visit St. Louis. Anyways, so that's what's going on in St. Louis. I just wanted to have that conversation because it's always a narrative that's being painted by the large media. But where I see everything going bad is in the actual larger cities, the Chicagos, the New Yorks, the Oaklands, the LAs. I see stuff going bad in Houston. When everybody moved there, that's when I started to pay attention. Like, I don't know about that. Let me read a couple of the super chats and we're going to continue over with the show. Got a couple more things to cover. Chris Monroe, STO, says St. Louis has actually been named by Zillow as one of the best places for new home buyers. I hold over 20 doors in St. Louis. Just stay out of the hood. Because every place got good places and bad places. And then y'all going to be complaining about the cost of living and how you can't afford anything. And that's because y'all trying to compete with millionaires and out-of-town investors and institutional investors for these major cities. I'm telling y'all, man, we just need to rethink about where the opportunities are instead of always focusing on where everybody else is running to. I'm not going to buy nothing in Houston. I'm going to start looking for the opportunities in the places where it's a lot cheaper for me to build up. I don't know. I see things differently. Shout out to my dog, Chris Monroe. I appreciate you. Wealth Building Journey says, I would bet that there's a playtime, that's the playtime. There's probably some good investment opportunities there, and big professional investors are probably trying to use the media as a way to keep smaller investors out. That's why we got the Millionaire Morning Show to have these conversations. If you need boots on the ground in STL, all right, email me, Chris Monroe, Anton Daniels 413@gmail.com. I'm going to probably schedule, since the weather is warming up, I'll probably be there in May. I'm going to fly to St. Louis in May and see what's happening out there. Take me a little tour, do a little vloggy vlog out in St. Louis. Shout out to St. Louis. All right, y'all, let's continue. So let's go over to the protests over in Columbia. These ladies, listen, they arrested over 100 protesters over in Columbia, right? And you wouldn't happen to know that one of the protesters' daughters is right here. Take a look.
So we saw more than 100 anti-Israeli protesters arrested at Columbia University's campus. They had a massive demonstration. The protesters set up a makeshift encampment on the quad at the university, camping out in tents, forming human chains and shouting chants of support for Hamas. New York City's Mayor Eric Adams called their actions and their words vile.
Very troubling. When you are protesting for peace, you should not be using inflammatory comments like we saw. It was very vile.
Brooke Goldstein's the CEO of the Lawfare Project, and Paul Morrow's our Fox News contributor. Paul, quick question on this. I'm surprised they took action, right? I mean, you've seen what's happened in this city over the past 3.5, 4 years. They went in there and cleaned it out when they could have had a situation that went for months all throughout the summer.
So Columbia apparently really wanted to move on this. They gave them a few days, gave them a deadline, informed them, and apparently conditions that were getting very, very squalid. The university was concerned about a dangerous situation. It was starting to look like Occupy Wall Street, which is no accident because it's a lot of the same constituents that are involved. And so ultimately they used the trespass violation, and that means that...
Look at that. Look at that nonsense. They setting up camps, tents. That junk look horrible.
Columbia had to be the complainant. So Columbia stepped up here. Let's see if they continue in the way that, let's say, Vanderbilt and Google have decided that maybe they're going to start to draw a line around some of these activists.
Some interesting moves this week. You're right, and you're right to bring up Google as well. Brooke, Ilhan Omar's daughter was one of those arrested.
And it's funny because Ilhan Omar, a lot of people say, I've seen somebody in the chat said they need to send her back to Somalia. She just so happens to be heading up her office, or she's a legislator over in Minnesota. A lot of people don't know that Minnesota is almost like the headquarters for Somalians. I couldn't believe it myself. When I went over there to the Twin Cities, I went and visited the Twin Cities over there in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And what I found was that it was so many Somalians over there. And I didn't know, right? I think they got like the Mall of America over there or whatever. You go and visit the Mall of America. I actually went and visited because my daughter, and it was in the summertime, and it wound up being an actually halfway decent city, and so I liked it. I vlogged it. All of my stuff is all on the Anton Daniels channel. And I went there, and it was almost like overrun. And I asked somebody, and they said, "Oh yeah, Somalians migrate over here, and they come to Minnesota. They come to Minneapolis." And I said, "Really?" Yeah, they was like, "Yeah, they really taking over, and they doing what they doing over here." And I didn't know that. I genuinely didn't know that. And so it makes sense, that she heading up and she taking over of what's going on over there. And she supported in Minneapolis or Minnesota, but her daughter is over there protesting in New York, causing chaos, probably going to follow in her mama's footsteps.
And she immediately tweeted this. She said, "Those of us in Gaza Solidarity Encampment will not be intimidated. We will stand resolute until our demands are met. Our demands include divestment from companies complicit in genocide, transparency of Columbia's investments, and full amnesty," in all caps, for all students facing.
This is her daughter, y'all. This is her daughter. right? So remember this. The kids and often at times are a reflection of their parents. And so if your mother then holds a legislative position in the United States of America, and then you're over there causing ruckus and you wanted 100 plus people that's being arrested over there at Columbia, and then you also feel comfortable saying this, knowing that we know that you are her daughter, what does that really say about what you represent for the country?
Repression. So that was on X, and where to next, do you think?
Exactly. I mean, what does it say about our state of our society right now that the daughter of a sitting member of Congress is arrested at a pro-terror rally where she was amongst people who are...
Now let that be Trump or the GOP House Speaker. Oh my God, they gonna have a field day. Let that be a Republican or something like that. Listen. Even Biden's son was out here having coke parties. He was sniffing. Apparently, they say that he was sniffing coke off of booties, and he didn't know whether or not it was a girl or a man. That's what they said. They said after look, I don't know. I'm just telling you what was alleged. They said after he left the White House, Secret Service found drugs. For the first time, they found drugs inside of the White House. Even though, look, Trump is held accountable for the people that's around him. Biden can't even get his own son in order. Sitting Congress member's daughter is being arrested at Columbia, and it doesn't even register as a blip on the radar for the national news or for people that vote.
chanting death to the Jews, death to America, who are saying we are Hamas, who were abusive to the police. And guess what? 108 people were arrested, and I thank the NYPD for doing that. And Paul was right. It's because Columbia finally stepped up and asked the police to remove them for trespass. But all 108 of those people were then released from jail, and they were all outside cheering and proud of what they had done. So where are the consequences? What is the deterrent effect here? Will the district attorney, Alvin Bragg, even prosecute them? Pressure has to be put on the DA's office to prosecute these people because they are disgusting and they are ruining our society. And they're, by the way, I don't even think they're all students either. I think half of them are paid to be there. We know that they're being bused to these protests. And it's not about Israel. It's about the destabilization of America. That is their intent.
Brooke, you raised an interesting point. I think Paul's the perfect guy to answer your query there. Paul, you were there the other day, right, in New York City. They're coming over the bridge. Right. Who are they? Where are they from? Are they Middle Eastern students? Or
now, check this out, y'all. Listen to look at the people in the chat. This is somebody in the chat. Obviously, they don't watch what it is that we talk about on a regular basis. This is a cop-out. This is how we do in our community, y'all. I'm going to show y'all why this is so ignorant. This is a cop-out. NBA Youngboy, are we really doing this? Biden is bringing millions of immigrants, killing little kids, and NBA Youngboy is all we can talk about. Then you got it from CBS. You do know. Occasionally, I like to entertain the people that is over here for the first or second time, right? I'm not sure that there's a YouTuber that has reported more on the migrant crisis over the last 2.5, 3 years than me. And we source our news from all outlets in order to come to a conclusion because we know that none of them is really credible as they should be. But if we source enough of it, we can start to mine out the different context clues so we can draw our own conclusions. There is nobody. I don't believe that there's a face on YouTube that has talked more about the migrant crisis than I have. More importantly, does not absolve NBA Youngboy from being held accountable for his actions. And so, like I said, innocent until proven guilty. I'm still going to react to whatever it is that's being reported into the news. And if he's not guilty, then we're going to make sure that we highlight that. And if he is guilty, then he needs to be held accountable because a lot of people is being influenced by what it is that he's doing because he's a public figure. So, with that being said, You know, calm down, little cowboy. Calm down. I know you're new here. Y'all don't time him out. Moderators, let him do his thing. Let him be an idiot. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes when you let people speak, they show how ignorant they are. Let's continue over with the show.
Middle Eastern civilians or immigrants here in New York.
This is the kind of thing, as I said, we saw it during Occupy Wall Street. We saw a lot of it after the George Floyd incident in 2020. And what happened here is that the pro-Palestinian cause has very cleverly allied themselves with a lot of the progressive groups that exist not only in New York City but nationwide, and it's a force multiplier with them. And so they managed to leverage all of these groups on the left. So they're getting funding, they're getting organization. That's why all the tents look the same. That's why they're getting buses. And so for them, that really works. The problem here is that it is segueing into a very troublesome area. They're yelling, "We are Hamas." They're saying that every day now is going to be October 7th. That's a quote from one of the agitators. So you're getting into a point where normally you would start to open cases on these folks. The problem is, because it hits this wide swath of progressive activists, you start opening cases on this, you start going into search warrants and subpoenas and pulling the communications, you're going to see some of the funding mechanisms that fund Democratic candidates. And that's going to get into a very uncomfortable area for DOJ. So it puts the administration in a very tough spot. Comes down to groups like Columbia and these universities to expel these students, because I don't think we're going to get a lot out of law enforcement.
Okay, we'll see what that happens.
What you have to do is you have to start making examples out of people, and then you'll quell rebellions. Real talk. And more importantly, the fact that you are a sitting congressman member's child/daughter, and you're exhibiting these behaviors actually is a reflection of how you were raised. And it reflects badly upon, well, maybe not, because I guess we live in such a liberal society that anybody can do whatever it is that they want to do, and they're not going to be held accountable for their actions anyway, because they got released right after they got arrested. So it wasn't no point in even making this whole thing in which you were arresting all of these people if you was just going to let them back out in the street. I remember during the whole protesting for the Black Lives Matters and stuff like that, and a lot of people they've forgotten this, but when they would arrest the people that was rioting and tearing up and burning down cars and looting stores, most of those people was released, and most of them wasn't prosecuted. They wound up letting them go, and then they wound up letting them rock out. And I couldn't understand it, bro, because it was like, if you don't make an example out of people, and a lot of those people, they wasn't out there protesting for or against Black Lives Matter, or it was because they was upset at George Floyd or the police officer. It wasn't that. They were opportunists. They were opportunists. And so I wouldn't be surprised to continue to see this person in the future. They're going to leverage this moment in order to, continue to promote themselves. And I wouldn't be surprised if they wind up getting a seat in office also and becoming one of our legislators, because you know how we do. We don't hold people accountable. We just celebrate their ignorance. And, even if they break the law, they're not held accountable. So just wanted to touch on that really quickly before we moved over into the last part of the show. Told y'all we was going to try to get y'all out of here pretty quickly. Common Man 80 says, buy low, sell high. That's just business. Or don't ever sell and own everything and take all of the profits. That's the real business right there. Delta Fox says the tuition at Columbia University is $63,000 per year. That's $240,000-ish for 4 years. These aren't at all poor people. They're either rich on scholarships or deep student loan debt. It's pretty crazy. Shout out to you for the information. Jamal Fowler says, Peace King Anton sliding through. Shout out to my dog Jamal. I appreciate you for holding me down. All right, last part of the show. I kind of wanted to talk about this a little bit yesterday. But I'm going to hit on it today. I'm going to do it a little bit differently, because then I start getting into a little bit of a rant, right? I want to start it off by showing you what's being reported and how people are really living, contrary to what the news has been promoting to you, what people are really living like in the United States of America. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let's get it.
Welcome back. Money Matters on Fox 59. We all know money is tight these days, and a new housing study shows just how tight.
Yeah, it says half of Americans are struggling right now to make their house payment, and We have some questions. Fox 59's Zach Myers joining us with a closer look at what else this survey is showing. Zach?
Yeah, so if you're feeling stressed out about money right now, at least you know you're not alone. According to this study by real estate brokerage firm Redfin, 49% of Americans are struggling and making sacrifices to make their monthly housing payments. Some of those sacrifices include skipping vacations and working extra hours. Others are more serious, like skipping meals and medical treatments, selling belongings, and dipping into retirement savings. The study found a surprising number of millennials who are already dipping into their retirement savings. Of those who are struggling, 20% say they've borrowed money.
Wait, oh man, I messed up. Hold on, let me see if I can get that back. Hold on one second. See if I can get back there. Y'all skipping meals? Y'all skipping meals? Whole meals?
Struggling and making sacrifices to make their monthly housing payments. Some of those sacrifices include skipping vacations and working extra hours. Others are more serious, like skipping meals and medical treatments, selling belongings, and dipping into retirement savings. The study found a surprising number of millennials who are already dipping into their retirement savings. Of those who are struggling, 20% say they've borrowed money from family or friends to help get by. Now, someone who bought their home a few years ago may not be struggling as much because mortgage rates were more like 3% back then, but more recent home buyers are dealing with mortgage rates around 7%. Still, renters may be struggling the most. People dealing with increasing rent prices are still watching those payments go up. According to the Consumer Price Index, rent prices started this year nearly 6% higher than a year before. And, you know, most of us didn't see a 6% raise year after year. There is some hope among economists that the Federal Reserve could cut interest rates in June potentially. But according to this report, again, the average American household earns about $30,000 less than what's needed to afford the median priced home. And total credit card debt topped $1 trillion in the U.S. for the first time last year. You can find out more about this survey.
So basically what they telling us is that people is out here struggling. It's not what y'all think that it is. Everybody trying to make it seem like they balling. Everybody is really fake balling. There's a small minority of people that's getting to the bag and really running it up. And then the rest of everybody else is really suffering as a result of it. Okay, I get it. Makes sense. Really closely aligns with what I think was really going on in the first place. Sounds good, all right? So let's deep dive into it a little bit deeper, all right? A little bit deeper. Let's do this. This is a video that is basically going viral on TikTok, right? And I was going to do a reaction to it. I still may dive into it a little bit more. I was going to do a reaction to it, but this, in my opinion, kind of really summarizes how people are living their life. And it's not just because of the interest rates that things are all messed up. Yeah, the interest rates are absolutely bad also. But on top of that, people have a lifestyle problem. Check it out.
Well, after 3 years with my Tahoe, I am finally getting rid of it. Let me tell you why. So 3 years ago, if you're an OG on my TikTok, you know that I bought my Tahoe for a lot of money. And I love this car. There's nothing wrong with it. It's perfect. Everything about it is just, it was my dream car. It is my dream car, and I absolutely love it. But I messed up 3 years ago when I bought it. So I bought my car and I financed it for $84,000.
What world are y'all living in today? Y'all financing, now I understand, you know, depending on how it is that you live your life or whether or not you want your money to still be making, whatever, so on and so forth. Regular, everyday people. I'm not talking about people that's rich. I'm not talking about people that's running it up. None that got a business or whatever, or has a high net worth, and or they don't have no debt and they don't have no home loan. They paid off their crib or nothing like that. I'm talking about regular, everyday people, especially women, are financing cars for $84,000. I'm not going to focus on our appearance. That's a whole nother platform that we like to deep dive into. And then that, right? $84,000 in financing? Don't you know you could have bought a house for $84,000 at one point in time? $84,000. Now remember, she did this 3 years ago. 3 years ago. Let's continue.
Which was fine, 3 years ago. But I have been making $1,400 a month payments for the past 3 years. And
$1,400 a month payments for a Tahoe. For a Tahoe. $1,400 a month for a Tahoe, bro. Oh, these finance companies are really finessing y'all. And I mean, seriously, that ain't even including gas. That ain't including maintenance. That ain't including insurance. That ain't nothing. That's just to finance the car. Ain't no telling what the hell the interest rate is. That's how I know a lot of these people is ignorant, because they're not even talking about the interest rate. They're just talking about the financing of the car itself, the car payment.
And if you do the math, you will see that $1,400 a month payments in 3 years should be around $50,000 worth of payments. Yeah, well, I've only paid off $10,000 of the balance.
What is her interest rate? What is she paying? And this is why I keep telling y'all that just because you got a good credit score does not mean that you are successful financially. Just because you got a great credit score does not mean that you are doing phenomenal financially. The principal that she paid off, this is why banks love y'all. Banks love you guys. Banks are the biggest finesse, legal finesses that I've ever seen in my entire life. You've made $50,000 in payment, but you've only paid into the principal $10,000, which means that $40,000 plus has went to just the opportunity to be able to finance the vehicle. Y'all do the same thing with your houses. You do the same thing with your cars. You do the same thing when you go to the store and you shop for Christmas and you finance the stuff. You put it on a credit card and then you wind up paying for it over a longer period of time, and you wind up paying triple for what you would have originally paid for. And then they throw new terms on it and new this, and if you pay it off in this amount of time, man, they know you ain't paying that off in that amount of time. And then guess what? If you miss a payment, then they can take it, resell it, and then get all of their money back on top of whatever it is that you paid in interest. That's a bad deal for y'all. She only got $10,000. So if she financed it for $84,000, that means after 3 years, she still owes $74,000 on this truck. That don't sound like a dream truck. That sounds like a nightmare.
So my $84,000 car that I bought 3 years ago is now still at a balance of about almost $75,000. And honestly, that blows my mind that I have paid $50,000 into this car and have only paid off $10,000 of the balance. So Friday, your girl is getting a new car. And honestly,
welcome to America, where most people are going to complain that it's too expensive to live here, when in reality, we making bad life decisions. Welcome to America, where most people, not all, most people are making bad life decisions every single day.
at first I was scared and didn't know if I was making the right decision, and I had to think about it a lot and weigh my options and think about the pros and the cons. And honestly, today I just feel very content with my decision. 3 years ago, I was in a mindset of where if I wanted something, I was going to get it. No matter what it was, no matter what I had to do, no matter how much I had to pay. I would work and get the money that I needed and I would buy it. Well, I am not in that.
I mean, you would finance it. A lot of us have that confused. Financing something and buying it is two different things. They just mix the terms up to make you seem like you got ownership.
Mindset anymore. Materialistic things used to be like so important to me. Like I had to have the best of the best of everything. And honestly, I am nowhere near that person anymore. Like
Shout out to Slan Sells Cars. I like that.
make a good amount of money and I support my family, but like why have I been paying so much for a car that I don't drive all the time? I only drive it when I go to work or when I'm doing something. Obviously that's what a car's for, but like I could be using that money towards so many other things. I could be saving it, I could be using it on vacations, I could be using it to buy stuff that are more relevant, or you know, putting it towards my family, investments, whatever. And the fact that I've blown $50,000 so far on something that's nowhere near getting paid off stresses me out. And I'm really happy for myself because that is growth.
And she's going to get another car, y'all. Let's continue this. This is my first time getting this far into the video. I only seen like the first minute of it, so all of this is new to me, just like it's new to y'all right now.
I'm so glad that I don't really care about materialistic things anymore. And like, I just am really, really excited for this. So on Friday, the Tahoe's gonna be gone and I'm gonna be done with it, and your girl's buying a new car and we're paying cash for it. So I'm gonna have 0 car payments.
But what is she doing with the negative equity in the other one? Is she getting it repoed? Because she's still gonna owe the money for that. Is she paying that off? Because it's not just that simple. You can't just turn the car in and that's the end of the conversation. You still owe money to the finance company from the equity, the negative equity that you have in that vehicle. So if the vehicle is only selling, or the price of it is only what, $35,000 now for that year model of Tahoe, because you know what I'm saying, the somebody already then took the depreciation hit, which is you, but you owe $70-something thousand, then that means that you owe a $40,000 difference in payments, or you got to roll that negative equity into whatever it is that you buy next. So it's not that simple, but I don't know. I don't know yet. Let me just see what she's saying.
And that makes me so happy because I am so excited for the freedom of no longer having a car payment. So the $1,400 that I was spending every month on my car, I can now put to something else.
And she think that she really unlocking life right now. Maybe she'll become a financial guru soon.
If I have any advice for anyone that's thinking of buying a car or buying anything, honestly, and that is going to be making payments on it, my advice is not to do what I did, because it is not worth it. Do not pay so much for something that is so irrelevant. Having a nice car is awesome, but it's not necessary to keep up with the trends anymore. Like, the trends are changing every couple of months. Like, everybody wanted a Tahoe. I wanted a Tahoe. I got a Tahoe. But like, why did I do this to myself? So yeah, I'm super happy about this, and I'm missing stuff. I cannot wait for the freedom. It might not seem like a big deal to some, but to me, this is a big deal. So if you want to see what new car I'm getting, stay tuned, because Friday I will be sharing that with y'all. So if you've stuck around for the past 3 years and have enjoyed my
I gotta see you now.
I'm so sorry to let you know that it is all coming to an end, because she is officially leaving. And new car, 0 payment is coming in full swing. So yeah, on Friday I will be sharing with y'all my new car.
Now I'm invested. Give me a second. Let me go over to her TikTok and see what she got going on. All right, so now I'm invested. I'm going to keep y'all informed on what she got going on and when she wind up getting her new car or whatever like that, because I want to see what she got happening. This is crazy. Yeah, this is insane. All right, I don't see no new car on her stuff yet, so we're going to get there and we're going to find out what she got going on. People are just making bad life decisions, honestly. It's more bad life decisions than anything. Shout out to my girl, sister. Says, Mr. AD, I thought we were supposed to love people, not things. Am I off? You not off. The money is just a tool, and it's a nice to have, but it's not the end all be all, and it's not supposed to define who you are. Shout out to Sister. Spaces says, listen, the chewy caramel, oatmeal, and lemon zest Cortez cookies will make you stretch, step back, run up, and roundhouse your mama sinfully. Shout out to Cortez cookies. Definitely a bag chaser. Common Man 80 says, President Trump had a plan during COVID. Biden gave people pocket change. Biden messed up, and people are paying for it now. Shout out to Common Man. I appreciate you. Forsaken Archive says, did you know DJ Academics did an interview with Donald Trump Jr. on Rumble? I did. I seen that. Haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I'm going to definitely check it out to see what's happening with that. That's a big come up for him. He's been winning all 2024. A-Man01 says, crime is crazy all because they lazy. Shout out to my dog, A-Man01. I appreciate you. Devastator says, well, she about to mess up her credit. Maybe she'll find a simp to pay for it. Who knows? Listen, I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for continuing to tap in. Again, make sure y'all tap into that Tiege Hanley sponsor for the show. 30% off plus 20% off your entire lifetime order. And then in addition to that, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Got out of here 13 minutes earlier than possible. I thought I was going to do it earlier than that. But you know me, I get to talking and I get to laughing and stuff like that. But anyways, I got a flight to catch. I got to head out to the airport. We don't miss, so I make sure I add value into y'all life. I love you guys. I appreciate y'all. Next live stream that I do, it'll be at after hours. And we're going to be doing it from a different location, all right? As long as we got that good Wi-Fi, as long as we got a computer, as long as we got a camera, I'm going to be here making sure that I add value into y'all life. I ain't got to be in the studio. We don't take vacations. We don't take days off, right? Whatever the location is that we are, that's just the setting. We're going to do what we do every single day. Make sure y'all make good life decisions. Make sure y'all smart. Make sure y'all align yourself with the right people, and let's get it in. But I gotta tell y'all, I need y'all one more thing. Do one more thing for me before we get up out of here. Make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe, and then share this with your family and friends because we don't want to be rich by ourselves. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for continuing to rock out with me. Y'all be safe. No fumble on a Friday. Make sure you keep all of your dollars in your pocket. Don't get finessed by these chicks. Don't get your location dropped by these chicks. And ladies, don't be paying nobody else's rent. All right? Stay focused. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.